Pearl Solstice inhaled her first Atlantic fog on 3 March 1999 in a cedar-shaped cottage lifted on grey granite blocks above the moon-polished flats of Galway Bay, Ireland. Outside, oyster boats clacked against the tidal wall, and her mother, a busking Sealy fiddler who keeps pressed foxglove petals inside her rosin pocket, eased a wandering reel that made chipped teacups buzz like 10 bees. Her father, a lighthouse radio operator who sketches cloud seals on weather logs, leaned so close their freckles blended and promised his brown new daughter that quay gossip, playground jabs, and clothing rails quitting at 14 would scurry aside for any spirit daring enough to stretch into her whole outline. Curves had pawed through the Solstice family tree since a great-grand danced jigs during ration winters using flour sacks for dresses, so nobody fretted when baby Pearl burst a second flannel wrap before the kettle sighed. Granny Bridget threaded a cell-making needle through every split seam, patched them with scraps of a retired Galway hooker jib, and laughed that 2 extra inches of cloth cost pennies, while teaching a child to shrink could steal entire horizons of dawn. Those classrooms smelled of damp pencil shavings, raisin soda bread drifting from the tuck window, and sea spray sneaking through warped casements. She already stood half a head taller than her desk mates, blotting the projector beam every time she traced humpback migration on the pull-down atlas. One rainy break, 2 lads hop-skipped circles, chanting tugboat with every boot thud that kept her from the hopscotch grid. Dusk found her combing the rack line, pocketing soda caps polished satin by surf. She threaded them on fishing line, stitched the rattling spine down her seafoam hoodie, and strode into class at dawn, scattering prism freckles across blistered ceiling boards. A visiting literacy aide caught 8 shaky seconds on a prepaid phone and posted the shimmer to an infant video nook. By lunch, 15,000 strangers applauded the girl who melted mockery into lighthouse shine. Day-night, Pearl wrote one violet vow beside multiplication drills. Clouds crowd only until you flash them bright. Saturdays belonged to Clatta Basin, where her mother's fiddle cascades braided with diesel coughs from crab boats, skillet snaps from prawn vendors, and gulls bargaining for fish heads. Shop jeans froze at Pearl's thighs, so she traded tip jar coins for frayed gillnet, unraveled it into rope, crocheted high-rise culottes, airbrushed puffin silhouettes with squid ink, and posed at apricot sunset against rust-lined pilings while her cousins snapped grainy frames. Each shot sailed into an online diary called Lantern Tide. The same week, a shiny photo app flickered across patchy harbor towers. Captions leapt between quaint slang and plain truths like, "Curves anchor gusts steadier than seawalls." 2 months before her 16th birthday, 48,000 unseen hearts tapped the heart icon under every marmalade frame. Proof, glowing rectangles, hushed cantina whispers quicker than any coach's whistle. A tidal energy grant ferried her west to the University of Limerick. Daylight dissolved in flume laps while nights belonged to a 24-hour box city truck, glowing neon peach beneath wind-whipped poplars. The heat lamp became her lone softbox. Between potato cake orders, she filmed 90-second reels, folding parchment into primrose hairpins while unpacking dart rotation and half lecture spark, half shoreline hush. One clip layered seal pups yips over a lo-fi shuffle while she chain-stitched reflective crab hot wire into thrift denim. 47 hours later, the counter skimmed beyond 1.3 million. West Coast style pages crowned her the boxy couturier, although every sponsor pitch stalled at size 16. She stashed each message in a folder labeled shrinking nets, wiped chai butter from her cuff, and plated another order. Autumn Gale Week delivered an email from Columbia Sportswear. They invited her to co-design a spray shell capsule named Moonlit Current. Pearl replied with 3 rock farm terms: patterns climbing to 60-inch hips, half the project's crew hired from community college design cohorts, 10% of net profit pledged to Oyster Reef Revival from Dingle to Donegal. Columbia signed Before Dawn, tinged laugh Skylight Road, to shoot open on a sandbar where newborn oyster catchers practiced first flights. Pearl guided paddle boarders of every dimension over glass sheet waves while a drone carved lazy infinity symbols in pale sky. When the lookbook launched, every extended size shell vanished in 41 hours across 29 countries. Lantern Tide vaulted beyond 700,000 lanterns. Powdered Sugar still dusted her palms from a graveyard curler sprint when she perched her phone on a flower crate, ducked behind porridge sacks, and live-streamed tear-bright thanks under buzzing fluorescence. First, quick splash of gratitude. If this harbor tale already thumps your pulse, tap subscribe right now. One gentle click secures your rail spot so the next voyage lands in your feed ahead of any algorithm tide. Scroll to the description whenever curiosity tugs. A quietly brilliant link waits there, mapping an evidence-backed route to spark real-world chemistry and nudging any conversation toward lasting connection. Spotlight glitter drew rumor razor bills. A clickbait vlog insisted Pearl cinched steel sheets under moonlit current shells. At dawn, she paddled a cedar board beyond. Kelp riven stood wide foot in sports top and linen shorts, traced each stretch stripe with crushed foxglove dust, and fiddled a reel so raw sea lions hushed mid-bark. 10 million reposts captioned foxglove-proof dusted blush petals over their own lines until gossip sank like spent tide foam. Boxed yard wages twisted with capsule royalties and whipped into Solstice butter, a cloud of spruce tip cream, lemon verbena oil, and mica sparks that glow seashell white under foam flash. 19,000 tins cooled on her father's chart bench, lids tied with twisted lobster line. Each tag printed, moisturize your horizon. Stock drained in 82 minutes, lifting 198,000 euro. 20% lift at Beacon grants furnishing industrial surgers and hydrones to plus-size teens in shoreline schools from Scaries to Sligo. 8 months later, 36 young makers streamed a floating fashion and dolphin song showcase aboard a retro trawler wrapped in solar bunting. Sunrise color rushing into classrooms from Kingston to Dublin Docklands Fashion Night carved new jetty legend when a backstage fan shredded her sapphire mesh gown from hip to shin 90 throds before runway. Pearl ripped neon mooring line off a reg brace, laced the tear like boot hooks, and strode as if the splice had lived in every sketch. Camera shutters cracked like kettle corn. Vogue Atlantic christened the moment rope cadence rescue, while another million lantern sparks ignited before the fiddle band even tuned. Trouble circled again when an ex-intern leaked cropped emails hinting that Pearl demanded Kilnajar oyster towers and chauffeured RIBs for her rescue full Marsh Lumen. She posted the whole thread. Refillable water urns. Lentil stew for crew. Caption monitors for deaf stylists. That month's affiliate surge, 135,000 euro. Funded biodegradable crab trap pilots off Achill Island. Fans echoed her Quay mantra, receipts outshine rumor grit until whispers faded into breakfast fog. Family moors her compass steady. Twice each month she streams Porch Line Groove. Mom drapes soul cord cascades beside her propane skillet. Dad reads cloud haiku. Pearl flips thrift denim while Lumen toddles through powdered sugar. One broadcast scaled 9 million views when the bird sneezed glitter onto the lens. A seabird refuge now sponsors every stream, tagging rehabilitated farmers with solar beacons powered by Solstice butter revenue. Butter profits skimmed past 12 million before Equinox 2. She leased a dormant bait shed, carved skylights through corrugated tin, and hired furloughed deckhands, plus design grass to whip custard and knot lids by hand during midday banjo house loops. Consultants begged for shrink bands. She repeated Granny Bridget's creed, fingertips keep legend long after plastic forgets, and rope ties stayed. Her feed breathes unfiltered sky. Basalt cliff portraits sit beside boxy truck selfies, captions same sky, different tide. She posts breath tracks recorded in sea caves, printable resilience pages in English and Irish, sliding scale therapy vouchers, all tucked 3 swipes down. 34,000 readers call her shoreline honesty their first calm harbor. Community glow rides sparkle under crushed shell confetti. Hundreds will sunset causeways wearing Solstice butter on collarbones. LED seagrass tassel spinning from spokes. Ticket money fattens Beacon grants and raises wheelchair snorkel lifts at Silver Spring Coves. Chowder huts bubble late. Scallop chow bowls spike 15% on ride nights. Pearl petals lead on a vintage cruiser with Lumen plush buckled in front, pausing to knot any rider's trailing lace. She is polishing a memoir titled Currents Keep Names, slated for 11-language release next spring, while a documentary crew tracks her quest to forge buoy chains into floating maker classrooms for headland schools. Puma's wide-to-way wave lantern sneaker lands next quarter, dreaded with reflective rope, cushioned by algae foam, and sliding 10% of sales into Beacon Nurseries, hugging the Atlantic Rim. Second, Friendly Nudge rolls in soft as kelp. If your subscribe badge is still crimson, coax it calm gray this moment. One thumb press ensures next week's chapter drifts straight to you before social currents can shuffle it away. And remember, that discreet link in the description is always there to steer any chat toward bright affection. Winter tide creeps near and playback slows to hush. In the description, you'll find fresh Solstice butter jars, Beacon Grant portals, tonight's Porchline playlist, and that calm confidence compass pointing the shortest path from hello to spark. Free entry, no gate, one click. If the soda cap, spine glimmer, rope stitch gown sade, or lumen glitter sneeze coax even half a grand, tap like, drop your brightest ripple in the comments and share this voyage with a mate whose sails hang slack. Every curve bends ocean currents, every scar refract lighthouse beams, and the bay bows to anyone brave enough to plant solid boots on the pier and greet tomorrow eyes wide. Last sea breath over the mic. Subscribe right now, claim your rel, cloud the love link tucked below, and meet me on the next rising tide when a fresh story glens just beyond the breakers. Encourage whispers your name again.